I found my name carved inside our Christmas tree 3 days before someone tried to kill me. Not on the bark, inside the wood itself. Deep in the trunk, where no blade should reach. And next to my name was another one I'd never seen before. Emma Chen, born 2027. I don't have kids. I'm not even married. Let me back up. My family has this tradition. We always get a real tree for Christmas. None of that fake plastic stuff. My mom insists on it, says it's not really Christmas without that pine smell filling the house. So every year on December 15th, we drive out to Henderson's tree farm outside Portland and pick out the biggest Douglas fir that'll fit in our living room. This year, I went with my younger brother, Marcus. Mom's hip was acting up, and Dad was working late like always. Marcus and I spent an hour tramping through rows of trees until we found the perfect one. 8 feet tall, full branches, that deep green color that looks amazing with lights. We got it home, wrestled it into the stand, and that's when I noticed the smell. Pine, yeah, but underneath it, something else. Something metallic and organic that made my stomach turn. Marcus noticed it too. "Did something die in this tree?" he asked, wrinkling his nose. I circled the tree, checking the branches. Nothing. No dead birds, no rotting squirrels. Just a beautiful Christmas tree that smelled faintly like a butcher shop. "Maybe it's the sap," I said, not really believing it. We left it overnight to settle, branches dropping into place. I went to bed thinking about that smell, unable to shake the wrongness of it. The next morning I found the puddle. Dark red, almost black, pooled on the hardwood floor beneath the tree stand. My first thought was that the cat had knocked over a glass of wine. But we didn't have wine that color. And the puddle was too thick, too viscous. I knelt down, my heart starting to hammer. The smell hit me full force, copper and iron. Unmistakable. Blood. I grabbed paper towels, hands shaking, and wiped it up. The towels came away soaked, bright red in the center. I checked the tree stand. The water we'd filled it with had turned pink. And there, running down the trunk in thin rivulets, were more streaks of red. The tree was bleeding. I should have thrown it out right then. Should have dragged it to the curb and gotten a fake tree from Target. But I kept thinking there had to be an explanation. Some kind of fungus, maybe, or mineral deposits in the wood. I'm a biology teacher. I know weird things happen in nature. So I cleaned it up, refilled the stand with fresh water, and told myself I was being paranoid. That night, I heard the dripping. Slow, rhythmic, drip, pause, drip, pause. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to that sound echo from the living room. At 2:47 a.m., I couldn't take it anymore. I got up to check. The tree was bleeding more heavily now. Not just thin streaks, actual rivulets running down the trunk, dripping onto the floor in a growing puddle. The smell was overwhelming. The whole living room reeked of blood. I turned on every light. In the harsh brightness, I could see the bark was splitting in places. Not cracking like dried wood, splitting like skin tearing open. And through those splits, I saw something that made my breath catch. Carvings. Deep inside the wood, where the bark had peeled back, there were letters carved into the pale flesh of the tree. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen and carefully peeled back more bark. My hands were steady. That teacher's calm that kicks in during emergencies. But inside I was screaming. Because there, carved into the wood in neat, deliberate letters, was my name. Sarah Chen. And below it, more names. My parents, David Chen, Margaret Chen, my brother, Marcus Chen, and then names I didn't recognize, Emma Chen, born 2027. Lily Chen, born 2029. Children I didn't have. Children I'd never planned to have. Their names carved into this tree like a family registry, like someone had been keeping track of us, keeping track of people who didn't even exist yet. I peeled back more bark. Blood welled up from the exposed wood, running over my hands, hot and wet and wrong. But I couldn't stop. I had to see. More names appeared, dates next to them. David Chen, 2025. Margaret Chen, 2026. Marcus Chen, 2026. Those were dates in the future, dates that hadn't happened yet. And next to my name, there was no date at all. Just my name, and below it, one word carved so deep it had scarred the wood. Soon. I dropped the knife. Blood poured from the tree now, soaking into the carpet, spreading across the floor. The tree itself seemed to pulse, like it had a heartbeat, like something alive was trapped inside it. I called Marcus, told him to get out of his apartment immediately. He thought I was drunk until I sent him the photo, the carved names, the blood, the dates. Then I heard keys jingling, footsteps. He was already moving. I called my parents next. Dad answered on the 8th ring, voice thick with sleep. I didn't give him time to ask questions, just told him to pack a bag and get to a hotel. Now, he must have heard something in my voice because he didn't argue, just said they were leaving and hung up. I stared at the tree. Blood pooled around its base, thick and dark. The carved names seemed to pulse in the exposed wood, like they were alive, like they were watching me. I grabbed my laptop. I needed to know where this tree came from, who had access to it, who could have done this. I found him online in less than 10 minutes. Thomas Henderson, son of the farm owners. His public social media was normal, Christmas trees, family photos, holiday cheer. But he had another account, one he thought was private. Hundreds of photos, families picking out trees, and underneath each one, notes, names, addresses, daily routines. He'd been watching them, watching us, for years. I kept scrolling, my hands shaking. More families, more notes. And next to some of the names, red X marks. I searched those names, found obituaries, car accidents, house fires, a family of 4 killed in a carbon monoxide leak, a couple who died in their sleep from a gas leak. All of them had bought trees from Henderson's farm. All of them had died around Christmas. My phone rang. Marcus. Our parents were safe at the Marriott. His voice was tight with fear when he said I should call the police. I told him I was going to the farm first. He tried to argue, but I hung up before he could stop me. The drive to Henderson's tree farm took 40 minutes. The roads were empty, streetlights casting long shadows across the pavement. I kept thinking about those carved names, those dates, 2025, 2026, next year, soon. The farm was dark when I arrived, just a gravel parking lot and rows of trees disappearing into the night. I parked at the edge and killed my lights. The main building, a small shop and office, sat at the front of the property. Behind it, a house. Thomas Henderson's house. The office window wasn't latched properly. I pushed it open and climbed through, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might burst. Inside, the office smelled like old paper and pine sap. I turned on my flashlight and started searching. The filing cabinets were full of normal business stuff, invoices, tax records, supply orders. But in the bottom drawer of the desk, I found a notebook. A leather-bound journal, pages filled with neat handwriting. I opened it and started reading. The journal was filled with his grandfather's ritual, how to carve names into saplings while they're still growing, how to feed them. Human blood mixed with water. That's what makes the trees speak. That's what shows the deaths to come. And if you're patient enough, you can make those deaths happen. Make the prophecy real. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the journal. This was insane. This was the ramblings of someone completely detached from reality. But the families were real. The deaths were real. And our names were carved in that tree, bleeding in our living room. I heard a sound outside, footsteps on gravel. I killed my flashlight and ducked behind the desk, my heart in my throat. The door opened. Light flooded the office. And Thomas Henderson walked in, carrying a gas can. He didn't see me at first. He set the gas can down and pulled out his phone, checking something. In the light from the screen, I could see his face, calm, focused, like he was running through a checklist. Then he looked up and saw me crouched behind the desk. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then he smiled. "Sarah Chen," he said softly. "You're early." I stood up slowly, keeping the desk between us. "I know what you've been doing. I know about the families. The police know too. I sent them everything." He shook his head. "No, you didn't. You came here alone because you wanted to be sure. You wanted to understand. That's what the tree showed me about you. You're curious. You can't leave things alone." "You're insane. Trees don't predict the future. You've been killing people and calling it prophecy." "The trees show you the pattern," he said, picking up the gas can. "Some families are meant to end." He tilted his head, studying me. "Your parents, carbon monoxide, very peaceful. Your brother too, but you were supposed to die tonight. House fire." He smiled. "Since you're here, we'll improvise." I grabbed the only weapon I could reach, a heavy stapler from the desk, and threw it at him. It hit his shoulder and he stumbled back, surprised. I ran for the window I'd come through, but he was faster. He grabbed my arm and yanked me back, his grip iron strong. "The trees don't lie," he hissed in my ear. "You're supposed to die. Fighting just makes it harder." I drove my elbow into his ribs and felt something crack. His grip loosened. I ran. Cold air hit my face as I burst outside. My car was 50 feet away across the gravel lot. Behind me, the office door slammed open. Footsteps. My hands shook so badly I dropped my keys. They hit the gravel with a metallic clink. I dropped to my knees, fingers scrabbling in the dark, feeling for them. There. The footsteps were closer. 20 feet. 10. I got the door open, threw myself inside, locked it. Key in the ignition. The engine turned over just as his fist hit my window. The glass spiderwebbed but held. I slammed the car into reverse. Gravel sprayed. He grabbed for the door handle, but I was already moving. Tires screaming, speeding toward the road. In the rearview mirror, he stood in the parking lot. Not chasing, just watching. Like he knew something I didn't. I called 911 as I drove, hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. Told them everything, the journal, the families, Thomas Henderson. They said they'd send officers to the farm and to my house. When I got home, there were already 2 police cars in my driveway. Officers were inside, staring at the bleeding tree, at the carved names, at the pool of blood that had spread across half the living room. They arrested Thomas Henderson that morning, found more journals in his house, more evidence of the families he'd killed. The district attorney said it was one of the most disturbing cases they'd ever seen. A serial killer who believed he was fulfilling prophecies written in trees. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. They tested the blood from our tree. It was human, type O negative, and the DNA matched samples from 3 of the families Henderson had killed. He'd been feeding their blood to the trees, mixing it with the water, making his prophecies come true. But our tree had been bleeding before we ever brought it home, before we ever put it in water. And the names carved inside, they were old carvings, grown over with years of wood. The tree had been marked when it was just a sapling, maybe 10 years ago, which means Henderson had been planning our deaths for a decade, watching us, waiting, growing a tree specifically for our family, carving our names into it while it was still young, feeding it blood from his other victims. And those names I didn't recognize. Emma Chen, born 2027. Lily Chen, born 2029. Henderson's lawyer tried to use insanity as a defense, said his client genuinely believed the trees showed him the future, that he was just following a pattern he thought was inevitable. The prosecution said he was a calculating killer who used superstition to justify murder. I don't know which is worse. What I do know is this. I'm pregnant. Found out 2 weeks ago. It's early. Too early to know if it's a boy or girl. But I've been having dreams. Dreams of a little girl with dark hair in my eyes. Dreams where she tells me her name. Emma. I haven't told anyone yet. Not my family, not the father, not the police. Because I keep thinking about that name carved in the tree. Emma Chen, born 2027. That's next year. That's when my due date is. And I keep thinking about what Henderson wrote in his journal. How the trees show you what's coming. I don't believe in prophecy. I don't believe trees can see the future. But I also can't explain how Henderson knew about a child I didn't even know I was carrying. How he carved her name into a tree years before she was conceived. The rational part of my brain, the biology teacher, the scientist, says it's coincidence. That I'm letting a madman's delusions get inside my head. That I'm seeing patterns where none exist. But the other part of me, the part that saw the blood and smelled the copper and read those names carved in wood, that part knows something is wrong. Something I don't understand. Something that doesn't follow the rules I thought governed reality. I drive past Christmas tree lots now, and I can't help but look at the trees. Can't help but wonder what's carved inside them. What names are hidden in their heartwood, waiting to be revealed. Henderson is in prison awaiting trial. My family is safe. The bleeding tree was incinerated by the police, along with all the others from his farm. But sometimes, late at night, I put my hand on my stomach and feel the flutter of movement. Feel the life growing inside me. And I wonder if she'll have dark hair in my eyes. Wonder if I'll name her Emma because it feels right, or because the tree told me to. Wonder if the prophecy is real, or if I'm making it real by believing in it. I don't have answers. All I have is this. I check my locks 3 times before bed. I installed cameras around my house. I keep detailed logs of everything strange, everything wrong, everything that doesn't fit the pattern of normal life, because Henderson was right about one thing. I can't leave things alone. I need to understand. And somewhere, in the evidence locker at the police station, there's a section of that bleeding tree, preserved, cataloged, with my name carved inside it, and below it, that one word, soon. I don't know what it means. I don't know if the danger is over or just beginning. But I'm watching. I'm waiting. I'm ready. And if Emma is born next year, I'll love her and protect her and teach her to trust her instincts. Teach her that when something feels wrong, it usually is. That's what saved me. That's what will save her. The trees might remember. They might show you the future. But the future isn't written in wood and blood. It's written in the choices we make, the actions we take, the vigilance we maintain. Henderson thought he was fulfilling prophecy, but all he did was create a self-fulfilling nightmare. I won't make the same mistake. It's December 23rd now, 2 days until Christmas. My family wanted to get another tree, but I told them no. We have a fake one this year, plastic and safe and completely, utterly normal. And every night at 2:47 a.m., the time I first heard the dripping, I wake up and check my house. Check the locks. Check the cameras. Check that everything is still safe. Because I know they're still out there. Not just Henderson. Others like him. People who believe in patterns and prophecies and trees that bleed. And I know that somewhere, right now, a family is picking out their Christmas tree, taking it home, setting it up in their living room, breathing in that pine smell and feeling safe and warm and festive, not knowing what's carved inside, not knowing whose blood is feeding the roots, not knowing that their names were written years ago, waiting for this moment. The trees remember, and so do I. Last night I woke up at 2:47 a.m. to the sound of dripping, but when I checked the house, everything was dry. The sound was coming from inside my head, or maybe from inside my stomach where Emma is growing. The trees remember, and they're still speaking.